Hey, here we go. Craig Peterson here. And a shout out to everybody who is watching this live on video up on YouTube and on Facebook, which is kind of cool, actually. We're going to be doing hopefully some cool stuff here over the next little while as we get some of the newer technologies into the studio. We're going to be doing live interviews and putting the videos up and everything else. So you can see me if you just go to craigpeterson.com/YouTube, for instance. You can see the video. We'll make sure it gets saved up there in case you're listening and you want to go back and see what my little studio is like. So this is part of it. One of these days, maybe we'll give you a tour of the studio and all the equipment that we have here. But anyways, it is primarily an audio show. A lot of people getting on podcasts. We've been thinking about maybe putting up some of the podcast as video podcasts as well, but that's a whole separate thing. So for now, YouTube and Facebook, and you can find all of those just by going to craigpeterson.com/Facebook. And for those of you who are watching this, you'll see at the bottom, we've got a special offer for this week. Last week, we gave out this Quick Start Guide, and the Quick Start Guide is really designed for people who wanted to get their businesses going. And this is it here. I printed it up. I've got it in my hands. You can see it on the cameras if you're watching live or the replays. But I go through a whole ton of stuff in here. Never given this away for free. So that was last week. Oh, we got a housefly in here. And this week we are doing something a little bit different. We have our password cheat sheet, and we're going to be making some more of these things. Hopefully you got all the Security Summer stuff. If you had signed up for the Security Summer, you know I've sent out 28 of these cheat sheets, almost 100 pages of information about what you should be doing as a home user, as a business user, as someone who's retired, etc. If you missed any of them, let me know and I'll be glad to get those out to you. And the easiest way to get a hold of me is just email me at craigpeterson.com. If you're the type of person who really loves to use texting, you just pick up your phone and you can text me directly at 855-385-5553. So let's get started today. We got a number of articles. We're going to talk about this massive spike that is costing businesses here in the U.S. and around the world over $12 billion in the last couple of years. It is really, really, really huge. And what I'm going to do as we go through this, if you're watching live or watching in the replay, I'm going to put up the article up on the screen that I'm talking about so you can kind of see it and you can follow along a little bit at home. But business email compromise. This is something where the bad guys are going and sending typically phishing emails. And nowadays, it's not just regular phishing. We're talking about spear phishing emails. And spear phishing emails are when someone does a little bit of research on you. So they find the name of your company, they find out what kind of business you're in, they go to your website and they find out who the CFO is, who the CEO is, who the bookkeeper is, right? So many of us put all of that stuff up on the website. And now they have enough information to do a very targeted marketing campaign, right? It's you want to talk to people as individuals. And what better way to do that than to switch from, hey, I'm an Nigerian prince and I need to get out of jail, so I'll send you some money and you just send some of it back, to the point of today where it is a lot more complicated because they know about you. Now, I got to talk about a friend of a friend here. Her name is Laura. I'm sure she's still around. She might even be listening. Hi, Laura. Wave to her there on the camera. But here's what's happened with Laura. She had a great little business doing photography, and she got an invite to do some photography for somebody out west. Now, she lived in the East Coast at the time. No, actually, she lived in the mountains, the Midwest, Colorado, I think, maybe. And the person wanted her to do a photo shoot for her on this beach in California. So this person says, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. How much are you going to charge? And you set it all up basically. And she says, well, I'm going to charge whatever it was, $3,000. I can't remember the number. And so the other guy on the phone said, man, I already got a check written out here for $5,000. Would it be okay if you just refunded me the difference? You see where we're going? Yeah. The difference is the profit the bad guy was going to make, because that check that they were going to send Laura wasn't any good. And it takes a week or two for checks to clear. When you're talking about international checks, it takes even longer. So they'll often ask you, as they did with Laura, well, can you just wire me the difference? Now, they're playing these games with cars as well. I was looking for a car. In fact, I was looking for another Ford truck. And we found a great deal on a Ford truck. So we thought, okay, this is going to be good. We're going to make, this deal. And man, this is such a cheap price. What I did, and what I would advise you to do if you're kind of stuck in this same thing, is I took the pictures from the ad. I think it was on eBay, if I remember right. So the pictures from the ad on eBay, and I took them to Google. Now, Google has an image search feature. You've probably used it before to look for images of celebrities or other people. But you can also upload a photo. And you can ask Google, where else does this photo appear? Now, one of my sons was doing some volunteer work for this dating site. And what he was doing is taking pictures that people were posting for their profiles. He was running them through the Google image search and seeing if it was really them. And much of the time it wasn't. It was some celebrity or some other person. Who knows what these people looked like? And in many cases, these accounts were fake accounts that they were using for these types of scams. Now, when the scams are for end users like you and me, that's one thing. And I was smart enough to double check, thank God I knew, right? Who knows this stuff? And I did a search. I found that they had taken some pictures from a car dealer's website who actually had this truck. They were the ones with the truck. And the truck that the car dealer website had, it was the same used truck, but it was $10,000 more than the scammer wanted. So what happens a lot with these truck and car scams is they have the scam going, right? And they get people to bite. They get them to pay them the money, and they've set up these fake accounts on YouTube or elsewhere. So they wire them the money, and, well, they don't wire them. They send them a check, right? Or the car shows up and they have to pay. But there's always a refund involved. And the refund is you refunding the money. So they'll say, well, the shipping cost is only going to be $500. I thought it was $1,500. So I overpaid you, because you'll get a check and it's for too much. And you might contact them and say, well, what's going on here? This is more than I thought. You're supposed to pay me. So some people will do that. Some people who are a little dishonest won't. But at any rate, the scammer is going to ask for that money back, and then people send them the money. And so now the scammer just made $1,500. Now, in this case, what we're starting to see is a major problem. This is a report out from Mimecast, and it's talking about how the business email compromise scam has ramped up 269% from last quarter to this quarter. And this is an article we're talking right now on October, right? Mid-October. So a massive spike in emails that had dangerous business email compromise stuff in it. So what they're doing is they're finding out about you, they're getting your email address, and then they're sending you dangerous file types. It might be a PDF, it might be a .exe, it might be a .bat, it might be a .com, and they are sending them to people's inbox. Very, very dangerous. Malware attachments are in these things, spam and target inboxes. This quarterly report by Mimecast reviewed more than 260 million emails from 500,000 users. So think about how many spam emails these guys are getting. So of the emails that were scanned by these different email security systems and successfully delivered, 28 million were spam, and 28,000 contained malware attachments, and 28,000 had dangerous file types. So 60,000 was the bottom line of the messages contained business email compromise stuff, impersonation, fraud, scams, a lot of different words for them. So be very careful. One of the biggest ones, and we picked up a new client over this one. This is called a vendor email compromise. This is kind of a new technique that's been discovered, and it involves the intruder sitting on a target network and observing communications. They get a hold of the emails. It might be coming out from the billing department, might be from a manager, and they now know who they're sending emails to, what they're talking about, how much is normally billed. Very interesting article. It's up on Dark Reading. There are some links to the original articles that were talking about this, and you'll see all of this up at CraigPeterson.com, of course, and you also should have gotten this in your weekly email. Now, if you didn't get that, go ahead right now to CraigPeterson.com. Right on the homepage, there's a sign up, and when you sign up today, you will get my password special report. This is a 10-page special report going through the pros and cons of different password managers, the costs, what you might want to look at, why you would use them, what kind of passwords, all of that stuff. So just go right now to CraigPeterson.com. Of course, you're listening to Craig Peterson. You're watching me live, Facebook, YouTube, and on the radio at WGAN. So stick around. We'll be right back and talking about lying to your bank. Yeah.